I'm super excited about this interview. I love the theme here. I love like the actual atmosphere. Love working with you guys. You guys are awesome too. And yeah, anything to do with the gear shop is awesome.
Pretty stoked. Well, not the interview part, but I'm pretty stoked on this setup. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
About a 3 out of 10.
Meh, it's all right. Interviews. As a people leader, I've had interviews like all my career, so nothing really. It's just a conversation.
Very. Just means that we're progressing into something completely different. It's, yeah, super exciting.
I think so. It's not bad. Okay. Very nice.
Pretty excited.
My first car was a 1986 Dodge Colt, 4-speed, manual. That's where I learned how to drive standard.
My first car was a 1981 Toyota pickup. Yeah, that truck. I knew nothing about mechanics, so I ended up thinking this was a great ski mobile. And the guy who sold it to me was like, this is a great truck. It's going to work great for you. And I drove it away. I think I gave him a case of beer and some money. And man, the truck just fell apart right away. And I went to school down south. And I drove it to school and pretty much didn't make it to school. So I learned really quick how to fix a truck because I didn't know anything about auto mechanics. So I skateboarded to school quite a bit and then eventually figured out how to repair it. 4 years, 5 years, got pretty savvy at fixing this little truck. And then I still had that truck probably up till like 10 years ago. It taught me a lot.
The first car was an 81 Mercedes diesel that I had like completely pulled the interior out, redid all the suspension, and I was only 13 at the time. Me and my stepdad, we did a burnout in our front driveway and we blew the head gasket. That was no longer my first car. The parts were too expensive to get it. So I had a number of first cars. It was like that was given to me, fixed it, and then I had it was like a 52 Ford Fargo or something like that, which was also given to me. That's how I learned how to drive manual on like this old 3 on the tree. Like I don't remember that car a whole lot, to be honest, but that and then like my true first car when I was legal was a Chevy Cavalier. That kind of started my brain into the modifications, got into Volkswagens and then Toyotas and back into the European world.
My first car was a 1989 Nissan Pathfinder that was gifted to me. It had a curfew attached to it. And really it was just for me to get to school and back from university. I wrote it off in an accident, not on my own fault. The brakes failed on it at an intersection downtown, and I literally rolled through a red light. And I made it across 3 lanes of traffic before I hit another car and then went into the Second Cup coffee shop. So really lucky I walked away, but yeah, that didn't last long. That car didn't last long.
First car I ever bought or first car I ever drove? First car I ever drove was a Dodge Caravan. Awesome vehicle. Could shuttle so many bikes up and down the hill and fit a lot of people in it. Didn't cut it up going up the mountain very well. So yeah, and then the first vehicle I bought was my Tacoma. Then like I said, it spiraled. Very far.
My first car is like a Renault 21, 4x4 and 2.0 turbo. And I buy this car from 12 p.m. in night. It's very fast and very cool car. It's similar from Subaru.
My first car was actually a 350Z Nissan.
How did you find your skill set and when did that happen?
It was back when I was in Japan, actually, and I was surrounded by cars. I could name every single car, and just the sound of them, right? Just the engine. I would just roll down the window just to hear the engine. But I could just remember, my brother's a motorbike mechanic. He would play with his motorbike and I would play with my cars. And we'd switch and we played and we were like, no, give me my car back. And so I was always a car guy since I was a kid.
I started this four-wheel drive association back in the day called Toyota Four-Wheel Drive Association. And its aim was to educate people on the backcountry and how to use their vehicles responsibly. And out here at like McLean and Wipers, there's a lot of people mud bogging, burning couches, and doing all kinds of really intense things during the long weekends. I come from a skiing background where backcountry skiing is, we normally don't do those things. I started to kind of explore with my four-wheel drive to go camping, saw that this was a problem. So I figured, well, it might be a good idea to go with people because I was going solo. Put it out there to create a group of people that could become educated. I ended up becoming a four-wheel drive instructor through Bill Burke's four-wheel drive instructor program and a Tread Lightly Tread Trainers, so I can put programs together, help people learn to do it properly, and then create a whole community out of that. So the gear shop just kind of came about because we were pushing people to do rock crawling and camping and like blending the two, which wasn't a thing then. So we needed equipment and components. So we started working with companies in the States, namely All Pro, and they helped us create components that we needed to be able to do long distance travel and do like pretty solid off-roading. So that's how the gear shop came about, is we just started helping people get parts, and it wasn't for profit at the time. And then it turned into a business because people from all over Canada started calling us and getting product. So then I decided, well, this is going to be a full-time job, so may as well start a shop and see what comes about it. I didn't do the installations at first, we just sold parts. And then quite a few people really pushed me to do installations for them because I knew the product, which I really tried to refuse until people really started making a big deal out of it. And then, so I learned how to do mechanic work to install these components on vehicles because no one was really doing it in town. And then I hired a technician to do the work properly later on. So yeah, long story short, here we are.
It started when I was probably 11 or 12. I was like always wrenching on cars. I lived on a farm. Cars always, had problems, always constantly had to be fixed. My stepdad kind of introduced me into the world of fixing cars, and I kind of got out of it and then back into it, and here I am now.
My skill set here is kind of different from the rest. I don't have any automotive training or background. I think as a child growing up, having a passion for an enjoyment for cars, and then growing up and having, the ability to go drive a car, turned into like an enthusiast to a hobbyist to just owning cars or multiple cars. That's my background. I think my skill set here is I'm a people leader, I'm a strategist. I kind of look at things from outside in and look for things that we can do better. I'm really more just a performance coach, and I kind of bring the best out of people, I hope. So, yeah.
Yeah, it began, I guess, from seeing photos of my dad's 78 Pontiac Firebird, the golden chicken. Can't get it out of my head. It's something super cool. I don't know, I always had this kind of interest in automotive design, and I come from, my dad's an architect, my mom's a graphic designer, and aesthetically, cars were just always so unique to me. So I found myself really liking that, and then, went down a path of architecture, interior design, and, a recession hit, and then all of a sudden just got into this. Started building a Tacoma that had no end, basically, just kept snowballing, and then found these guys and really clicked, and showed me a lot of new things in terms of off-road scene and everything. So it's kind of where I'm at now, and yeah, learned a lot more now.
Before I've been like very small guy, and I'm looking every time for race in movies and TV, and I live very close to special road from race, and I think so it's like, oh, maybe I needed to start like teaching from or learn from mechanic. And I go to the school in Ukraine, and I finish my school, and I go work like heavy duty car mechanic, and every time I think so, well, maybe it's not very nice work, I need to go like in the race. I go in Poland, and I live like 7 years in Poland, and I start work in Poland like race mechanic, and I work like 7 years.
So I started building my own cars, and then I just got an interest in it and wanted to pursue becoming a mechanic. I always wanted to work on cars. I decided to go to a tire shop. I worked at Cal Tire for 5 years, and every way I could progress, I was progressing. I ended up working my way up to semis, and then I started doing like tractors and stuff too. And then I wanted to get into mechanics, but I felt like I was stuck doing tires. So then I asked for a transfer to Calgary, and I was still stuck doing tires. So then I seen that the gear shop was hiring, so I shot my shot and told them I like working on cars and I want to learn, and then they gave me a chance. And I just wanted to work on cars. I like doing the cool stuff, right? So I didn't want to just be doing tires all day. I don't like really working on your normal vehicles, and here you're working on really cool vehicles. So
What gets you up in the morning?
I have a routine, so I don't even think about it. If I let my brain think about it, I won't get up. So I get up at 4:30 for a workout, and then a cold plunge at 6 o'clock after the workout. And if I let my brain think about it, it won't happen. So I just set the routine, set the alarm clock, and go.
Man, I love work. I really love coming here with the team, and I think just the ability to use our creativity or my creativity at work really gets me up in the morning. That's really interesting. I mean, I love what I do, and that really makes it easy to get up and be pretty energized to come into work. And I don't even think you can call it work. It's a great place to spend your energy and creativity and work with the team. That's amazing. Yeah, it's easy. It's easy to get up in the morning.
My alarm with about 5 or 6 snoozes. Get up, make breakfast quick, and head over here. I live super, super close, so it's like I don't have, like, we usually start working on cars at 8:30, so I have to leave at like 8:15. So it's a pretty quick morning. I'm not a huge morning person, so I'm very slow moving until about 9:30, and then it's like, okay, I'm alive.
Start from my day is like 6 a.m. Yeah, and sometimes I go to the gym and bring my lunch and go to the work.
working on cars. Yeah, I just like working on cars. So no, I'm a all day kind of person, like morning or night, either way.
Secret talents, secret hobbies.
Hidden talent. I play a West African drum called the djembe. That's rhythmic. I always liked rhythm. My dad played guitar, and he tried to get me into guitar, but I was like, I like a drum, so I play a West African drum. So
I love skiing. That's my other passion. Obviously, driving is my other passion. So those are my two, if we call it recreational loves. Those are my two things that I love.
Hobbies, big skier. I love mountain biking. I love camping. I don't have any hidden talents that I know of yet, yet to discover.
Hobby-wise, I don't tell much people about it. I collect a lot of Lego. I buy and hoard Lego. I don't build them, I just hoard them and store them away, and then I just resell them. Toys, I think, have just taken over. I think in certain, genre toys, it's worth more than gold. In some cases, like Lego on average, if you keep it for 3 to 5 years, the return on investments is 300% and up. It's crazy. Like Lego is not for kids anymore, it's for adults. Yeah. So it's kind of like Lego stock market, but just with toys. So that's my kind of secret hobby. Other than that, the usual, I golf, I ski. I just got back into esports with driving cars on a computer. That's been really fun. Drives the competitiveness amongst the team here, so that's fun to do. Yeah.
Secret talents and secret hobbies. I used to be able to play guitar really well. Haven't picked that up in a while. Like I said, not a lot of people knew about architecture stuff in the automotive side, but I went to school for architecture and interior design, and yeah, I've been utilizing that a lot. And then another talent would be I can do a handstand. I'm just kidding.
My hobby is like before I built like rally cars. It's like job and hobby. And one time I built like go-kart, and I installed engine from motorcycle and has 72 horsepower. And I start at 72 horsepower and 300 kilograms if I sit inside in go-kart. And it's very, very fast. It's like I try drives like has 6 gear, but I use only 4 gear. It's like, and it has 140 kilometers per hour. Yeah, it's very scary to drive. It's my hobby. It's like weld something like or build like small project for. It's like exactly only my project. Yeah, but it's like needed more time.
Not really. I snowboard a bit, and then snowboard, work on cars, and that's all.
Have a memorable customer states job.
yeah, I do actually. Even though I've been only here for 3 months, but I remember putting a Toyota onto a lift, and he came in to do some suspension work, and we kind of looked at the back of the frame and kind of like just touched it, and my finger went through the frame, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I think we need to tell the customer about this one. I don't think we're allowed to sign this one off. So it didn't end up being suspension work, but it ended up being something different. So
Well, I mean, there's quite a few of those. They're always like a, hey, can you just weld this, or can you just change the oil? And that turns into a whole list of things. And welding takes a long time. So every other job is definitely not a, hey, can you just do this? It's like there's a lot to it. But I think this AMC Eagle is one of those projects, and this Toyota pickup next to me, yeah, that accelerated really fast from, hey, can we just do suspension work and make this kind of a good all-around four-wheel drive, to, hey, can you put a roll cage in it and put the radiator in the back and then make it a racetrack? And that was a massive slippery slope, and I really tried to tell him these are probably not good ideas, but it was his dream. It's his love. Kind of like Shuichi was saying earlier, is that passion for his four-wheel drive was huge, and the passion because it's like his truck and just adapting to what he really wanted to do. So it was just one of those that was just like a, hey, can you just do this? And it turned into this massive project that we're super in love with. But that stands out big. That's a big one.
Not that I can I mean, in Canada, I feel like we see, or in like Alberta especially, I feel like we see a lot of cars that are like hanging on by a thread. Fortunately here, we deal with like a lot of people that like really care about their vehicles, so we don't get a lot of like neglected stuff. But actually, this truck behind me is exactly like what you said. It came in and it was like, let's do some suspension on it, and like, it was like not minimal, but it just like wants to do some upgrades. And then it snowballed into this big thing, which it is becoming now. But starting it, we pulled some suspension out of the back of it, and the frame had monster holes in it. And I told the customer, like, listen, this truck is like, the frame is toast. It's like, it shouldn't be on the road. And we pulled the gas tank down, and it was even worse on that side. And it's like, I spray painted a giant line, like basically underneath the driver's side door. And it was like, everything from this line and back is garbage. It needs a new frame or buy a new truck. And the customer was like, I love this truck, let's fix this frame. So we basically cut it off and rebuilt it from there back. Yeah, that frame is fucked. Not anymore, but fuck, it was bad. 100%. Yeah, like side by side, like just monster holes.
I don't really, as a people coach, I think I hear about it because I hear the kind of oohs and ahs through the door. I think the one customer had a white Tacoma, and the customer was excited to just, hey, I've got some money, I want to put some, shocks on it, upgrade it. And then I remember them dropping it off, and by the end of the day, it wasn't I'm going to upgrade. Now it was like, I'm going to sell it because there's holes in the frame. I think that's probably the first time, like being here, that I saw something like that, where someone went from completely high on, I want to get toys for my truck, to, I can't wait to sell this thing. But yeah, that's probably the first time I've seen like kind of the spectrum of from happy to like almost pure sadness.
Can I use myself? Because I was a client here a long time ago, and I remember Nathan and a couple other guys from the shop asking me, how far you want to take this? Are you ever you see yourself going off-roading, going to Moab, going to Rubicon, and all these other things? I said, no. I said, I just wanted to kind of just have fun and make it look cool. And then I'd say 3 years after that, I built a long travel Tacoma and got the idea to put 3.0 suspension in it. And then it just spiraled from there. Took my dad off-roading to Moab for the first time. That was on the list. So that was super fun. It's like a black hole. It just keeps going further and further.
Yeah, I comes in the gear shop, and Nate and Vince says, oh, this car, it's like customer needed a little bit smaller upgrade. And I ask where he used this car. It's like, travel, maybe rock rolling or off-road. It's like everything. Go to the one car. Okay, maybe race car. okay, maybe race car, maybe we install roll cage inside. It's like, before it's like only like truck, go to the off-road. Right now it's like trophy truck. It's like sometimes people comes and I needed to replace lights or something like this, and from finish for like 1 year finish, and we have trophy truck.
Unlimited budget, no restrictions, anything. What's the vehicle that you would build or buy?
I've always been a huge fan of the Toyota Land Cruiser. So an older Land Cruiser, like the Icons, I think they do a great job putting in a more modern, like retro mod type of motor into Land Cruiser, and just have it just like stock looking and just off-road. And that's something that I always loved. But when it comes to like track cars, I'm always been a huge fan of the MR2. So just restoring an old one like SW20 and just keep it stock, light, and sleek too. So.
Oh, I love trucks and I love cars. Those are my two. Obviously, there's only one or the other. We were very fortunate. I was very fortunate that we had a customer here with this Tundra and said, "Build me what you would love to have, and what is your dream truck that you would build?" And obviously, I still have to take considerations because he sled skis in the wintertime, and I can't go super crazy with it because it would be the suspension that I would really focus on, but really splitting the line of what a dream vehicle would be. But this Tundra was, at the time, was everything that I thought would be fantastic in a truck. So a dream build, the ultimate dream build for me would be, I think, a restoration project on an older vehicle, going very bespoke and being able to go interior, exterior. But thankfully we have something like this. This Toyota it's going to be very bespoke in and out. And it's kind of what I envision a race truck would be for a customer that would like something that is beautiful inside, but still functions really well on the exterior.
I'm not like a huge guy for speed, so it's probably not going to be a car, but like I really like Ford Raptors. So I'd probably build out like a first gen, like 6.2 liter Ford Raptor, maybe like a supercharger and like some crazy fuck off suspension, but build it out to be like a desert racer, but also like a camping rig. I'm really into like the quiver killer of cars. So it's like, if I could have one, and honestly, my heart's only big enough for one car. I just want to pour everything into one car. So one car that does it all, which would, to me, would probably be a Ford Raptor. Not a huge Ford guy though. I fucking hate Ford. But actually, they're not reliable at all. So if I could take the body of a Ford, unlimited budget, right? Okay, so the body of like a Ford Raptor, and I guess the frame, and then put like a 2J in it or something. And like, then it would be like super big horsepower and like somewhat reliable because it's a Toyota.
I think the car that I would just keep would be a mid-80s Porsche 959, just for its time, the technology behind it, the fact that they dumped all this investment and research into it. They were basically losing money on this car. At the time, it was $500,000. As a child growing up, it was like the coolest thing I'd ever see. I actually saw it on Miami Vice next to Don Johnson's white Testarossa. They had this 959, and that's been kind of the unicorn that I would chase. But I wouldn't do anything to it. I would just keep it.
I have two. I'll say the first one would be, I've always wanted to kind of see how far I could take like a luxury pre-runner, because you don't really see those here. It's more so for like California. But I think it'd be really cool to build kind of what we've been building here lately, a luxury pre-runner. The next one is definitely closer to my heart. It'd be that 78 Pontiac Firebird, the fire chicken that my dad had. Unfortunately, he sold it because he had me. But I've been kind of really looking for one, and I would love to build that out and see how far I could take it, and then give it back to him, and give him as a present. So
it's like if I has open budget, I build like it's like name T5 class. It's heavy duty truck, and you can use this heavy duty truck in race, and it's very popular in Dakar race. And it's like 3 people sits inside. It's like driver, mechanic, and co-driver. and you need to drive like 700 or 800 kilometers for per day, and you has 1,000 horsepower and 4,000 Newton meters. It's very cool car. It's like if I has open budget, it's only this car.
Probably R35 GTR, probably. I mean, I like them all, but I would go for the R35 probably.
What's a favorite project of yours that you worked on?
Yeah, we worked on it was an IS300, an older one, but we swapped a 2JZ, like a super motor into it, and then we had a friend that raced it on the track. But being able to see like a small vehicle like that come alive and be able to have that much power coming out of it, it was just gnarly and dangerous, but so invigorating at the same time.
There was a van we worked on. It was a camper van that a customer had, and they had it for a very long time, and they'd drive to Mexico with, and they wanted more power. So we hot rodded this motor, and you know, it didn't make a lot of power before. The thing could barely clear like 100 kilometers an hour. So we hot rodded the motor and EFI swapped it, and then it could go down in Mexico, of course. It could go down the road at 150 kilometers an hour pretty easily, and it was like a 1970s van, and you know, you go that fast, the plates in the back are rattling. I mean, I think that was a really neat project because it was so unassuming, and it was brown, and this van just had this heart that was of a hot rod, and it could just cook down the road. I think that one really sticks out, but of course, right now, presently, this truck and this truck, I think, are my two favorite projects because they're modern. We're blending quite a few things together to be able to create something that's going to work really well for the customer, and they're super proud of it. And I think that for us is just, and for me, is just super fun.
It's this tiny little car, Nissan POW. Loved working on it. No, no, it's the fucking worst car. The worst car. I only remember like the fucking absolute horrible cars that I work on. It's like the fun cars is just like, I don't know, it kind of just like shoots over your head. As being a mechanic, you remember the horrible shit. Have lots of fun building bumpers and like, kind of doing like one-off stuff that people don't really like doing. At first, I kind of, why would you do this? But at the end, it's like, okay, that's kind of sick. To name a favorite, I don't know if I could.
I think really coming on with Nathan originally, and it's kind of hearing his vision for what the Gear Stop started as, where it was when I joined as a consultant, and kind of helping him bring it to like more that modern space of what direction he wanted to go to, and basically bringing out the best in his team. As far as car projects, I mean, we see so many different cars here. I think probably for myself is probably watching Norm's yellow submarine come together, because I think it's brought the best out of everyone that's on the team with their individual contributions. Has been really cool to see.
I would have to say, not a vehicle really, actually. Working on the project of the shop, like seeing it grow from what it was to being here, really. Like doing an interview for a documentary that could be released, amazing. Going to races and, you know, further progressing the shop, super cool. I think that's super unique to me. I mean, we build amazing vehicles here, no doubt about it. But just kind of seeing and being a part of something that I didn't really know a ton about, from where it began to where it has, you know, progressed to, it's pretty cool. And you don't really find something like that in Calgary. So I was lucky enough to stumble across it.
I've been in Salter Motorsport before. It's like I start 80 series Land Cruiser, and we built this car like classic Dakar. And I not finished this project, but for me it's like I built another lots of projects from rally cars, but for me this project is like the best car. It's 80 series, diesel engine, manual gearbox, and we use very professional suspension in this car. And yeah, I finished this project maybe like 25 or 30%. It's like built roll cage inside, cut everything what we needed, short frame, short body. And yeah, for me it's like the best project for IHS.
No, I don't know. I like all the projects. I'm still learning right now, so anything to help me learn, I like doing. So I liked wrapping my car, and then I feel like wrapping, there's a big difference when you're done, right? So.
What's your favorite aspect of modification, performance, fit finish?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it's like seeing the joy when it comes to when there's a vision that somebody has, and that vision actually comes to fruition, or even better, and that excitement, that's I remember having those moments as well too. So being able to have that in people's lives and being part of that is so awesome, right? And that's like joy that could be created if you have the right vision, the right people that are on the team that could really execute that.
That's a good question. That's a very complicated question. I mean, for me, the car, I think chassis setup for me is really important. I think how we develop the vehicle around that is important. And one of the first pillars to that is suspension. So as long as the chassis itself or the unibody is stiff enough to be able to handle the forces that we're asking of it, then focusing on the suspension to dial in how it's going to handle and carry the weight, or be able to go over surfaces quickly, or to be able to get grip. These days we really see a lot of vehicles that are over weighted. There's too much stuff on the roof, there's too much cargo in the vehicle. Being able to actually pull the customer back from those modifications and kind of reduce the amount of cargo that we're carrying in these vehicles. Lighter is better, and as we're on the racetrack, a lighter car does help quite a bit. That takes a lot of effort that's required out of the picture to be able to make it handled properly if we can have a lighter car. That also reduces the power requirements and a lot of strain on the car as well. So if we use that application of four-wheel drive, for us, really it's chassis setup, suspension setup, and reducing as much weight as we can while still being able to carry the cargo that's required. And then for a car, being able to have a really light car that can handle well. And that really starts with the chassis, making it really stiff, in the right places, and then having suspension that can be able to keep the wheels on the ground, going around surfaces and corners. To me, that's a really nice puzzle to work with, and really like that aspect of it.
I would say neither. It's more or less the person that owns the vehicle to see what their reaction is after the modification. So it's like, you're a really good example, actually. Like, you're fucking stoked on your truck. And it's like, it's cool to like help someone do what they want to do, and then we kind of put our spin on it, and then the customer's super stoked, which is like, I think that's kind of what I like doing the most, is just like seeing the aftermath of the owner.
For me, it's a fit and finish. Just seeing how it starts, but really just what the outcome looks like, especially how it's executed. I mean, I have a specific type of car that I like, but out of any type of project, whether it's a basic upgrade to a full build, I always just enjoy looking at the finer details of how it's executed, how it's put together. Everything from the color to the stitching on the inside, to even how the hydraulic lines look. That's really cool to me. I might not like the vehicle, it might not be my favorite car, but I'll still enjoy how it's put together, because I think it's just really neat to see people who are passionate about something put something together, whether it's from scratch, where they have to fabricate something and they just kind of use their imagination to turn it into something cool. That's probably my favorite part.
I mean, I was kind of talking to Nathan about this the other day, but I'm kind of a stickler for lighting. I love lighting up the night. Not that I'm scared of the night, but it's fun to just go as fast as you can, full send, when nobody's really around. But I think a big thing would be like suspension tuning would be really cool. I just find that, there's so many ways to do it, but getting the most like optimized and efficient way of making the vehicle and pushing the vehicle as hard as you can without it breaking, it's pretty cool.
I think so. I prefer like weld and cut. But if I needed something like, modification frame, or we need the inside roll cage, or modification suspension, upgrade suspension, something like this, I like it. But if I needed like various, it's no, maybe another guy.
I like all of it, the power, the looks, everything. I just like, I like breaking necks when you drive by, so.
Do you have any advice for car enthusiasts or anyone aspiring to kind of get in this field?
I think the community is great, and if you respect the community, respect people's visions, and one thing that we might see as beautiful, somebody might not, or vice versa. So just respecting people's visions and their heart around it, right? And I think that's a very important piece to like keeping that like fire alive. And also last thing is like, whatever budget you set, you'd probably just like add another 25 to 50% to it, right? So.
Oh man, what kind of advice? Financial or? It's tricky because we all kind of call it like we have a problem. This problem is very consistent, and you probably have the same problem. But when you have this passion for vehicles, and the only saving grace to it is that you're not spending your money in other places that could be really bad. And maybe that's an excuse that we give ourselves. People who are getting into it, they have to be prepared that the costs are very high, and especially today. If we rewind 10, 15 years ago when we started, the costs were pretty manageable. And unfortunately, today costs are higher. Interest rates are going up, and borrowing costs are higher, and we have an issue with production costs going up. So the same component 15 years ago to today is very different. We can expect more than double. And so these are very expensive things to get into. But what I think is really important for people to understand is to enjoy it for what it is. And forget about what social media shows, what is possible, or, Instagram. It can really hurt. The biggest message that I can try to explain to people is just whatever you have, get out there and use it. And it doesn't have to be perfectly set up. Just as long as you're out there and you're enjoying, I don't know if you can call it a sport, but enjoy the passion. And enjoy it for what it is, and not for what it can get you, or how good you look at doing it. That's what I hope that we can convey to our customers. I know customers come in and they're like, "Hey, I want all this stuff," and a lot of times we're like, "You don't need that stuff. Let's roll it back." And we have to be careful because there's a dream and there's function, and we don't want to kill the dream, but we still want to deliver on function. So people are getting into it. It's just whatever you got, just use it. It doesn't matter how it looks, or it doesn't matter how cool it is, or does it look like what it is in social media, because the main thing is that you're out there using it, whether you're on the racetrack, as long as it's safe, or you're using your four-wheel drive, just use it. And I think we forget that people have walked and used their legs and used bicycles to get to some of these places that people dream of, and you don't need all the things. You just got to go. For us, if we can just help you with the mechanical side and have the vehicle running in good shape, and you just get out there, awesome. I think that's the best thing. So if you got something, just use it.
When you say it takes 20 minutes, it's actually like 4 to 6 hours. So you should tell your spouses that, or significant others, whatever. It's always 4 to 6 hours regardless. Aftermarket parts never fit. That's a good one for sure. And like, it's damn true. Also, like, just, you got to be passionate about it to just push through, because it is a tough industry. Just being like on your body, you're constantly lifting and, slipping off of wrenches, stuff like that. Like, I've had a number of accidents here that have sent me to the hospital, but then, you kind of just get up and you got to come back and do it again, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. You learn from your mistakes, obviously, and some of them, cost you almost a finger, or, some teeth, or, your back. So just be mindful and just love what you do.
Honestly, just chase that dream. I think anything's possible. Surround yourself with people who know more than you. I think you'll be able to get there. I think for myself, growing up as a child in kind of a middle income household, I remember having a poster of, a Porsche. I remember having like posters of G-Wagons or magazines with G-Wagons on it. I never would have thought I would have had, at my age now, I've pretty much have most of my bucket list cars. But I think that if you put your mind to it, you set yourself up with some really easily attainable goals, and surround yourself with people who are passionate about what you're passionate about, and who are good at what they do, anything's possible. And I think you'll be able to achieve, whether it's a build, getting that car, or even having multiple cars.
I'd say save a lot, take it little by little, that's for sure. I know that we always tell our clients, you don't have to do everything all at once. If you have an end goal in mind, do everything you can possible to meet that goal. The end line's always there. You don't have to get there that quickly. You can take your time, and things change too. Like I said, I didn't have the idea of building my truck the way I did. Go with the flow, honestly. And we always say just full send.
People who want to start work like mechanic, and if he liked this job, okay, I doesn't have problem for helps for him and teaching. But sometimes people comes and, oh, okay, you has very cool job and you driving for every world, and you start in rally. It's like you've been like rally mechanic, and you drive lots of city and you see like new country. But people start work and see for it's like very hard, and sometimes you need to be in like 300 or 400 hours per month in job. And if this job is like, if it's like not your dream, it's not impossible to start. It's too hard. But if you like a car, you need to try.
Yeah, you just gotta reach out to the company that you want to work for and give it a shot. You can do it.
Describe yourself using only colors and animals.
Red panda, white anaconda, purple penguin. I'll leave that to the imagination.
This is kind of what we hope for.
Oh yeah.
Great. So
Awesome.
All right, well, there's a funny story to this one. Golden eagle. There's a bit of racism to this. You know, growing up, people were like, well, you know, being Asian, you're yellow, or whatever these funny words are. I figured, well, guys with, you know, women with blonde hair, it's blonde. It's not yellow, it's blonde. So why can't I be called gold? Because I'm golden, you know? So I'm like, well, I'm golden. So every time someone makes some sort of racist joke, I'm like, no, it's golden. Like, this is a golden feature that I have. And while we were on a camping trip, and my friend Harley, he's one of my best friends. He's known as the well, we were gonna call him what is that? The silver fox. He's not gray yet, but he's definitely a fox. And so his code word for me was I'm an eagle because I'm a golden eagle. So, anyways, long story short, golden eagle. That's all I got. I don't know if we can call this evolution, but our shop started in a certain place, and that place was to provide people with upgrades for their four-wheel drives. And along the way, we've evolved, and we had to adapt and pivot. And I guess that's the key word for these days. But we really had to see what was upcoming and see how we can adapt to whatever the conditions are, if it's economic or what customers require. And trying to be ahead to see what's upcoming. The big thing that we don't want to do is forget where we came from. We're really appreciative of our customers. We're really appreciative how we started. And that's always going to follow us into the future. We have this new step ahead of us that we are working on. We've been given a really nice opportunity by Miles at Porsche Calgary. Miles has been a really big supporter of us as well, as we are to them. And he's invited us to go be a part of the Alcan Winter 5000. The rumor is that this might be the last one. We have another technician, Misha, you're probably gonna hear his interview, and he's really helped us set some directions for the future that we're really excited about. There's a lot of it that we won't talk about yet until it actually happens, but the first step right now is this Alcan 5000 that we're super excited about. I think it's gonna teach us a lot. It's a rally that goes from Seattle all the way up to Alaska, covering 5,000 miles over 7 days, which is really a lot of driving. But for us, we want to be there as students. And this is going to set us up for some very big future plans that we are trying to change. Because like I said, the costs are really expensive to build these vehicles. And I think there's a better way for people to access the ability to have these adventures without paying the cost of the vehicle. Some of the experiences that we're looking for has to do with competition. And I think we're really looking forward to the next step because the team has been working very hard to learn these new skill sets. And I think it's time that we actually put that to the test for real. So pretty exciting. I wish I could talk about it, but yeah, it's very exciting. I think there's some really neat things coming down that we can't really talk about yet. So cool.
Is denim a color?
We'll
Big denim guy for sure, as you can tell. I actually, you know, my favorite color is blue, so that's probably why I gravitate towards denim. And animals, oof. I want to say I'm like a monkey, but it's probably like a monkey on the outside, and then like I want to be like a stay-at-home dog so bad. I just like want to do what my dogs do and just fucking eat and sit on the couch and bark out the window.
A denim lap dog.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Denim danger dog.
Colors and animals. A white owl.
Everybody tells me that I'm very loyal. The color of loyal is blue, I guess. That's what I've been told. Red because I can get a little spicy sometimes, I know. That's for sure. Animals. Black and white panda. That's, I guess, me. Yeah. And I'd say a wolf, I guess. I've always been a lone wolf, but you can always be a part of a pack. It's always cool.
You know, before we has, in my old job, I have like project from Land Cruiser 78 series. We has for him a name, it's like pink, but animals from, I forget these animals. Very big and has for elephant, yeah. Pink elephant, yeah. It's very cool project, and we has big stickers. It's like very big car. We install front and rear axle from Nissan Patrol, and upgrade engine. We install Cummins diesel engine from this car, and very big sticker from Pink Elephant from this car.
I don't know, a yellow monkey.